Hello and welcome back to Afterglow, and this will be the first episode of the new year 2026. Episode 122, we're going to be going back to the Atari 2600 and old school arcades again to talk about Dig Dug. This is definitely one of the granddaddies. It is a classic game that I loved as a kid, still love today, but man, I put some time to the Atari version of this one as a kid, and I'm going to be discussing that here in a little bit, but before I do that, let's give our patrons a shout out. As with every episode, I'd like to thank our backers on Patreon, including OCD and Every RPG, and Tex and Toby with Big Red Flavor. These two support the Afterglow podcast, and if you'd like to become a supporter, just go to Patreon for $1 a month. You can get a shout out at the beginning of every episode. But of course, that's not necessary. I want to thank you guys just for taking time to listen. If you want to help the show, you can do it in other ways. Many ways include just leaving a review wherever you listen to, whether it being a 1 to 5 star, few sentences, even a comment if you're listening on YouTube. All those are a great way to help the show out, spread the word a little bit. And even if you can't do that, I just appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen. So, once again, thank you. And now for listeners of the show, as you know, I usually intersperse the coverage of the game with some game music at the beginning and the end. This one will be a little different. I do have some game music, but the game tracks in this are very, very short. And they can be very, very repetitive. So I'm going to add a little bit of music, but we're also going to listen to some commercials for the game before we start covering it with our special guest for this month, who you will discover at the end of this break.
It isn't termites. It isn't mice. It's Atari's Dig Dug, the earth-shattering arcade game. Dig Dug digs his own mazes. He digs for Balloon Men. He digs for dragons. And now he's digging his way into homes everywhere. Dig Dug is under this world.
And welcome back. On this episode, I am joined again by the Electronic Emotions Program, otherwise known as EEP, as we are going all the way back to the Atari 2600 and the old school arcades to talk about Dig Dug.
Yeah, it's my second time.
So I guess I'm going to go with the obvious pun, and would you like to dig your way into this game?
Oh, I dug that pun.
Of course, while discussing this, we gotta be very careful if we talk about the profession of the protagonist in this game.
He's a tunneler.
Yes, let's definitely go with tunneler. And not with the other word that begins with a D that you have to enunciate very clearly that I was going to use. We'll just call that original word the hard D.
Well, that is that better? Yeah, we got this hard D going through the dirt. Yeah. Get that hard D through that moist tunnel.
So I want to let you go first. What were your first memories playing Dig Dug?
Yeah, it was the Atari 2600. Back when I was collecting my Atari 2600 games, garage sales and everything. There's just one of the random ones. I think that's the first time I ever heard of it. It was back then, and I've liked it ever since.
And yeah, that's how I started playing Dig Dug too, on a Atari 2600. But back when I played it, I only had a black and white television whenever I started. Now, one thing I want to bring up real quick about how the game is built with like the graphics and everything is if you've played Dig Dug before, the ground changes color the deeper you get, and it
Yeah.
looked great even on the black and white TV. Like gradients would go from like darker to lighter the further down you got.
Well, that would make sense. Yeah.
So whoever programmed it they chose colors very well to work great in black and white as well as color.
It's so easy to forget that back when the Atari came out, there were people that still had black and white TVs.
I was one of them.
Yeah, no, I remember my parents had one too, and it was just it's so easy to forget that though. That's what people had, and they had to take that into consideration. I mean, we always see the black and white switch, but I don't think about it that hard, you know.
Yeah, our main TV was a color TV, but the one I had the Atari hooked up to was in the bedroom. It was a black and white TV, but I spent a ton of time on that thing playing games, especially like Dig Dug. I would honestly put Dig Dug in probably my top 5 Atari games.
You know, I think a lot of people, or not a lot of people, I think I've heard someone say before that Pac-Man is easier to play in black and white mode. Because I think that's a game where you can flip the switch, it goes black and white, even if on a color TV. And I heard it's a better looking game than the base colors you get with it.
Yeah, I can understand that because the Pac-Man port for the 2600 had a blue background. So I can see how making that background in like a dark gray or black would help.
Yeah, and I think it was just crisper to see everything too. Everything was kind of muddy on that one.
And I'm not sure if I'm correct here. Scott from Retro Gaming Roundup would know a lot more about this than I would, but I'm wondering if the black and white looks crisper because it's going through that RF transmitter. Maybe it's not having to push through all the colors and everything, so that's why it can push an image that's a little cleaner. I'm not 100% sure, though.
It sounds reasonable to me because I don't know either. I'll buy that for $1.
I mean, it sounds like a good reason to me, but I could be completely off on that. But let's go back to your memories of the game. So whenever you played it, how deep did you get into it? Pun intended.
Well, when I was a kid, I didn't have the instructions, so I just played it very basically, you know, just popping the enemies and just getting further, you know. The Atari 2600 doesn't even have the flowers on the screen to show you what level you're on, so you kind of just go through. Mm-hmm. I think as an adult, I've played more of the arcade version through different compilations that I have. It's a lot harder than the Atari 2600 one.
So a fun story about what I would do whenever I played it on the Atari is that I would leave like 2 enemies left on screen, then I would try to completely clear out the entire maze and just dig everything out.
Oh, I guess you could do that. Yeah. Because you get those 10 points per block or something.
Yeah, like as long as there's 2 enemies left, you can keep playing. As long as you know how to maneuver well, you can usually outmaneuver them. And I want to say at least 1 or 2 times as a kid, I pulled it off and thus dug out the maze.
You know, the Atari 50 collection just had that Namco update like a month or 2 ago.
Mm-hmm. Right? That's actually where I replayed this for the most part.
Yeah, me and my son, we played all the different Dig Dug games on there. And I was reading the Atari 2600 instructions on there, and you can supposedly crush 10 enemies with one stone on the Atari 2600.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
And I'm like, well, I think and I've never played this deeply with skill, but I think what you got to do is stun them and kind of lock them all in one place and then get them to follow you. So you have to like manipulate the enemies through stunning them and then lure them into the stone and then...
That's a lot better than I could do. Like, I was doing good if I could smash even 2 of them at a time, let alone 3 or 10. That's crazy.
I just never bothered doing that.
I'll be honest, usually I was lazy and I just, inflate them up and pop them. Although every once in a while, I would try to maneuver them to crush them because it is fun to let the brick drop on them and crush them that way. But although I was usually pretty lazy, I'd just pop all mine.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. Another thing I read in the instructions too, I can't remember if it was for the Atari or the arcade one. One thing I've always hated about Dig Dug is how they can turn into ghosts and then just go through the dirt. Like, that's cheating. I get it because they'd be trapped and the game would be too easy, but at the same time I also hate it. But I heard, like, if they're going through a rock and then you move the rock, then the ghost is trapped on the rock and dies with it. So I'm like, that's kind of cool. So you can use their ghosty bullshit against them.
See, as a kid, I was always really irritated whenever the last enemy would take off and he would actually escape the screen before you could take that last enemy out.
That's a great little design thing too, because there's no reason for them to do that other than to just kick you in the pants a little bit. Like, you did so good, but not good enough. You got away. My son
Right.
has that exact same feeling too. He does not like them to get away. One thing I love about Dig Dug, I think it's a perfect example of how I play old games. I play old games mostly just to see how far I can get. And Dig Dug, in the arcade at least, there's those flowers to dictate how far you can go.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of other people, maybe even you play for the score.
I somewhat played for the score, although I also played it a lot just because I really enjoyed the game. But man, the arcade version, whenever I played it, it's a lot more difficult than the Atari version. I do feel like the animals or things, they turn into ghosts and they start moving through the walls very quickly. Like, you can maybe take one out and then the rest of them start chasing you through the walls really quick.
Did you know you can walk through a stunned enemy?
Yes, I did learn that.
I just learned that. I'm like, oh, I just ran away from them. I didn't know I could do that. That would have changed things for me, knowing, okay, I could run to the other side and then rock them,
It's so risky, though, because if they deflate while you're walking through their sprite, they pretty well immediately take you out.
Yeah. But I like all the different rules that just never was clear without instructions. Like, the lower you are on the map, the more points you get for killing an enemy. If you kill a Figor, like the dragon guys, if you kill them from the side, you get more points because they're more dangerous from the side.
Yep. How many times did one of them torch you whenever you're trying to take them out?
Oh, so much. And then there's that little thing where if there's a little bit of ground, you can still shoot through it. And I know that, but then I forget that they can also put their flame through that little piece of ground too that's still there. And then multiple rocks killing the enemies, that's always a good strategy for that. And then I just learned when you drop 2 rocks, that's when the vegetable appears. So even if you don't kill an enemy, if you drop 2 rocks, and those are worth a lot of points, right? Like, I was playing the Atari 2600 version, and yeah, there was if you kill 10 enemies at once, I think you get 8,000 points, which that seems pretty incredible to do. But if you drop 2 rocks and the Galaxian icon pops up, that's also worth 8,000. Just walking into an icon that's not moving, you get the same points as killing 10 enemies in a row with a rock. I'm like, well, if you're going for points, you might as well go for the vegetables.
And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out what I was doing to make that Galaxian pop up on the screen.
Right. Again, I had to read the instruction switch.
It would come up like, I don't know what they did,
It's just a bonus. I wonder, in Pac-Man, I wonder if there's a reason why the fruit pops up. There probably is.
I don't know if it's on a timer or if there's an action you do.
Maybe every
I have no clue, to be honest.
Every 50 dots you eat, maybe. I don't even know. I've never really looked into that deeply. I'm just such a hardcore casual gamer. You know what I'm saying? I like to play games a lot, but I don't look too deeply into it, which is why I've always been a console gamer.
Well, I think part of the reason why I enjoyed Dig Dug so much was that it was something different on the Atari. So many games on the Atari was like a space shooter.
Oh yeah, left, right, shoot.
Like it would take place in space or have something to do with space, like asteroids, Space Invaders, Galaga, Galaxian.
Well, technically, this is space too, because Dig Dug's part of the whole Namco Unified Universe, right? He's part of the USGF or whatever.
Now, this is something I did not know anything about until you were talking about on there. So I'm all you kind of take the wheel here and explain this whole Namco Unified Universe thing. I had no clue.
Well, I didn't know much about it either until that Shadow Labyrinth game came out last year. And then a friend of mine going, oh, did you? So yeah, you know about the Namco Universe. I'm like, the Namco what now? I didn't know either. And so here's us, 2 old hardcore gamers, passionate hardcore, right? Not maybe skilled. And I didn't know a thing about this universe, right? So, I mean, I kind of knew that Galaxian and Galaga were connected. And I kind of had suspicions that Bosconian was connected to that too. But if you look over, you looked it up. It was USGF, I think, or I'm still fresh on this. I don't know the exact initials. Tons of Namco.
Yeah, USGF-series.com.
Yeah, because even Ace Combat 3, because there's a couple different timelines or canons for the Ace Combat series, but the Ace Combat 3 game is like the first in the chronological timeline of the series. And I'm annoyed because in Japan they got this full story for Ace Combat 3 with cutscenes and all that. And like usual, they didn't feel like translating most of it, so we just got this cut down. And not just the story is cut down, but we missed like I want to say like 10 levels. They cut out of it too.
Ace Combat 3 was a weird one for me because I played Air Combat and then Ace Combat 2. When I got to the third one, they changed the control scheme.
Oh, did they? I haven't quite got that far.
So it kind of messed with me a little bit. I think I did eventually beat it, but
well, yeah, it was story was
the fact that Dig Dug's in with this entire like think Marvel universe sort of thing, but with Namco games and characters. That's mind blowing.
It is, and the Avengers of it all is that Shadow Labyrinth game that came out, which I bought because it was Pac-Man. I like Pac-Man, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not really Pac-Man. It's not like, hey, I'm going to catch some ghosts. Let's go, Ms. Pac-Man. It's this really weird, creepy, depressing kind of Pac-Man, and he's controlling. You're this puppet character that this Pac-Man's controlling for its own purposes. It gets more into it later, but it envelops everything. Like you're fighting Galaxians in this game. You're fighting. You're meeting this Bosconian race that's trapped on this planet, which you're on planet Xevious, by the way, in Shadow Labyrinth. So you're on Xevious, like the game Xevious, and then later on there's an area with the Dig Dug enemies, the Figors and the Pukas. And you're blowing them up too, but they're creepy looking, and the Dig Dug music is just echoey and quiet, so it's really unnerving. It's like, this is uncomfortable.
Does it do the thing that the original Dig Dug does, where whenever you stop, you get the that noise?
I don't think so, because it's still just a basic thing. This is that music's in the background, not when you walk, but it's just there. Like I think I heard the music before I saw the Dig Dug enemies, and I'm like, I know that music. Why does it sound familiar? And then it was, oh boy. And there's enemies, and the stage layout for those are kind of reminiscent of Dig Dug, even though it doesn't quite play like Dig Dug. They still turn ghostly and go through the walls. You can't dig through the walls, but oh yeah. And just going back a second here, when you said Dig Dug was different than a lot of other games at the time, it's also different because you're the one making the maze.
Yeah.
There's no maze, and you're making one, which you then use to guide the enemies through it. So you're guiding the enemies through your maze. Welcome to my maze, bitch. That's what you're saying.
I also like the mechanic of you having your air hose to pop, and then we fight inflating them.
That just seems so cruel, doesn't it?
It seems like a horrible way to go.
And are they really bad guys? Like really, when you think about like the story, I think they're bad guys. But if you have you played like a Pac-Man Anniversary, like the Pac-Man World?
Yeah.
Okay, on PlayStation, like one of the Pukas come by. They every time you see one of those Pukas that's not in Dig Dug, they just seem like just innocent little animals. Like I guess a dog or a fox or something. It's like, hey, I'm just a cute little animal walking by, and Dig Dug's like, I'm gonna blow it up. I'm gonna pop it.
Okay, I have a horrible mental image building in my head that Dig Dug is a American oil employee who's mining for oil and getting rid of the local life in the area. That way they can go oil mining.
You know what? That doesn't sound too off. I don't follow the stories too much in the Mr. Driller series, because you know Mr. Driller is Dig Dug's son, right?
Yes.
Yeah. In that series, I believe Dig Dug is treated like some sort of deadbeat. You know, I think him and his wife are split up because she doesn't like him. And he pulls an Al Bundy, you know, where he's like, yeah, remember that football game in high school? Scored 4 touchdowns in one game. well, that's kind of like Dig Dug's thing. Like his name is Taizo, I think. Like I forget his name. His name's Taizo. It's like, remember that time I saved the world? Like in Dig Dug, it's like that he just keeps bringing up constantly about how I saved the world that one time. He's just kind of a loser. Like for the rest of everything else. That's just what I gather from what I hear about stories. Like he's treated like a loser in like every other time he's appears in the games of some sort. He's just some loser deadbeat dad that happened to do a good thing once, maybe twice because Dig Dug 2 exists.
Now, which one was the actual name of the main character at Dig Dug? Because it says here that Mr. Driller's name is Susumu Hori, who's the son of Taizo Hori and Masuyo Toby.
I've been hearing Taizo was Dig Dug's name.
Okay, so if Taizo is Mr. Dig Dug, then we've got Masuyo Toby, who possible relation to Mr. Toby Von Doom from Secret Levels?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's a real person, so he's probably from a video game too. Like, I've never spoken directly to this Toby fella, so I don't think he's real. So, I mean,
makes me wonder if the other one's a genie. That's how this all worked out for him.
Well, genies are real.
Oh yes, they're very real.
Very real. The gin. I like a little gin and tonic.
Maybe that's what's going on. Dig Dug is an archaeologist looking for buried treasure.
Buried treasure. That'd be, that is odd. It's funny that instead of vegetables, it's not treasure he's looking for.
Right.
Why is it vegetables? Like that deep underground. And then, not just vegetables, but just like in Pac-Man, the Galaxian flagship shows up as an icon. That even shows up in the 2600 version, just a monochrome brown blob. But like once you know what it is, you're like, oh, that's what that is. And the Atari instructions even confirm that that's what it is. So he's finding like Galaxian spaceships underground and carrots. He's collecting both equally. It's like Pac-Man was like, ooh, an apple. Ooh, a spaceship.
Let's tear through both of them.
I think I'd like to see another Namco crossover, but a cutesy version. Like, I like Shadow Labyrinth with its dark depressingness, but give me a cutesy one where Pac-Man and Dig Dug are working together. Well, actually, I would love to see more crossover games. Have you played Tetris, Puyo Puyo Tetris?
Yes, I played the first one.
Yeah. I love how they mix the two games together. Like, you're mixing Puyos and Tetris, and how you have to wrap your brain around both mechanics at the same time. Can you imagine if we had like a Pac-Man, Mr. Driller, Dig Dug, where, like, say, a multiplayer game where everyone's working together with different mechanics to get through a puzzle?
See, the Puyo Puyo Tetris thing confused me because I'm decent at Tetris. I am horrible at Puyo Puyo.
Absolutely. I did have to get kind of good at Puyo Puyo because I did on the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection on PlayStation 3. There's a Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and you have to beat that game to get the platinum. And so I just use save states galore. Like, oh, he's getting ahead of me. Rewind. And so I got kind of good, but
you said that you played Dig Dug in the arcade too, right?
I don't think I ever played it in the real arcade, but I've played it on compilations that is the arcade version. I've got that giant kind of Pac-Man joystick that's like 2-3 feet high.
Right.
I played it on that, which is terrible to play with. Tons of compilations throughout the years, on PS2, PS1.
The 2600 was the only version I played until MAME came out, and of course we know what that means if I'm talking about MAME.
Do what you want, because a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
But I played all kinds of it on MAME, and really enjoyed like the flowers and the more detailed grounds. Like by the time I got to it, it was a very, very old game, but I really enjoyed reliving my memories. But outside of that one, then what about Dig Dug 2? Did you play it at all?
I bought the cartridge for Nintendo 1,000 years ago. I think I bought it thinking it was Dig Dug because I didn't notice the 2 on it. And I never really understood it right away. And I'm like, wah. But then I was playing it with Forrest the other day when we were going through all the other Dig Dugs, because Dig Dug 2 is on the online Switch collection. So I just swapped apps there. And I got it. I understood it. The way you're facing, and you have to it's kind of like kicks, where you're splitting up the screen to capture that
Yeah.
one. It's kind of like a reverse kicks, because the smaller portion that you separate from the island, that collapses into the water. And so the more enemies that you collapse at once, the more points you get. And you can still blow them up, but you're not digging, you're just creating fault lines. It's fun, and I
It
think
kind of reminded me of Splash Lake for the Turbo Graphics.
Splash Lake. I don't think I've heard of that.
It's kind of a similar style. You're like this ostrich thing. It's like pecking at certain points in the ground to get the columns to collapse. So it's kind of similar, except it's more of like a pathway rather than a whole island that you're on. If that makes any sense.
Well, I'm just looking at pictures of that now because you brought up it. The screen immediately makes me think of Kickle Cubicle on NES. But obviously, you're pecking on things as opposed to making ice blocks.
Yeah, it plays similarly to Dig Dug 2. Just you have just those pathways instead of the whole island. I did like Dig Dug 2. I did not get the same feeling that I got from the original Dig Dug, though.
No, I felt it was just more awkward to play. But I think if I learned more, if I practiced more, I think I'd like it a lot better. I made it about 6 stages in.
I think it's one of those games too where if you only had like 4 or 5 games for your Nintendo, you would have been a lot more into it.
Yeah, because it's one of those ones it's not pick up and play like Dig Dug. Like anyone can pick up Dig Dug and get the idea of what's going on and have fun with it. Where Dig Dug 2, I mean, you can just blow up the enemies, but then it's not quite how you're supposed to play it. You're supposed to drop them in the water.
I did like how it was the same enemies.
Yeah, that was cool. I don't know if the game ever looks different though. The backgrounds seem to look the same. I don't know if it ever changes the types of islands you're on. If it doesn't, I think it could get boring real quick visually.
Right.
Where Dig Dug, that one screen is visually appealing. Like like you were saying, the different layers, the enemies look really nice. I think the enemies look nicer on the original Dig Dug. The number 2 just kind of looks plain. It seems like it's more mechanically designed than visually, and they've never made another Dig Dug since.
I see where they say that Dig Dug 2 had an arcade version.
Did they?
But for the life of me, it looks almost identical to the NES version.
I wonder, do you suppose it was one of those situations where they ported the NES version to the arcades, like Duck Hunt, Mario, Castlevania?
It could be pretty close. Like the arcade is definitely more of a vertical screen, but like graphically, it's like pretty close.
And I don't think it's on any of the compilations I had, the arcade Dig Dug 2. So
yeah, because Dig Dug 2, I guess, didn't do very well. Like looking at the reviews of it of the time, a lot of people were not into it.
Yeah, well, like I said, my initial I didn't attach to it initially either, but I think with time I could. But that's not how arcade games work. You have to grab people right away or forget about it.
Not only that, but I mean, it was an Atari character, not owned by Atari, but a character known for being on Atari in the NES era. A lot of those didn't do good just because
it's Atari.
People are thinking out with the old, in with the new. Like even like Xevious didn't do well. I loved the arcade version of Xevious.
Yeah, it's fun.
But yeah, it did not do so hot on the NES because everyone was more interested in that newer stuff coming out, like Salamander.
Yeah, the
Nemesis.
Ice-going Life Force. One Dig Dug version that no one talks about, and it took me a while to hear about it, and it plays pretty good. It's on the PSP. It's on the Namco Arcade Battle Museum. And there's a few arrangement games, basically remakes. And Dig Dug is on there in an arrangement form. It's got newer graphics, newer sounds, new enemies, new gameplay a bit. And it's even got 2-player co-op.
Yeah, I think I remember that because it had like a modernized version like Galaga too, didn't it?
I can't remember if Galaga was on it. I bought that collection specifically for the Dig Dug one. I wish Namco would release a collection of all their remake games. Because on the Wii there was the Namco Museum, and then it was called Namco Museum Remix. And then I found out, like, within the same year, they released Namco Museum Mega Mix, which included more games. So I had to buy that too later.
There's
And
one that I would like to find called Dig Dug Deeper, which came out in 2001 solely for Windows. It was a 3D remake.
oh, let me look that up. So it's for Windows. Was it a physical release or?
Yeah, it was 2001.
Oh yeah, look at those graphics there.
But I'd like to find that one and see how it plays.
Yeah. Oh, that does look neat. So it's a different kind of gameplay too, because it looks like there's an overworld. I wonder if it has Dig Dug 2 elements in it.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Like, that's one I'd love to eventually
Oh yeah, no, I'd like to find it too.
eventually find, because it looks different, but it looks like it's
does.
similar too. Like, it has some similarities.
Well, yeah, no, it's got your traditional game. Like, the graphics look pretty basic, but like for your basic Dig Dug stuff, but there's also an overworld which isn't Dig Dug at all. So, like, Dig Dug too, but
that's something I'd like to find. And then a version that I have not played before until recently came out with that Atari 50 expansion. There was a 5200 version on there.
Yeah, we played all of those. They're basically just different varying, like, they're almost like different difficulty levels of the arcade version at that point.
Yeah.
There's the Atari 800 computer version, the 5200 and 7200. They just see, that's where I go back to Pac-Man. The 2600 version was not the arcade version, but it's the one people still talk about because it's so different. I think the 2600 version of Dig Dug is different enough to stand out, where the 5200 and 7800 and 800 just seem like lesser versions of the arcade, where the 2600 is something different almost. Although,
see, I've always said for Pac-Man 2600, if it would have been called anything else, I think it might have been taken in a bit better, if that makes sense.
I think from one angle it does. On the other hand, would anyone who've ever even given it a shot?
I mean, there's Mappy for the NES, and a lot of people got in the Mappy.
Actually, it was Mappy Land on the NES. We never got Mappy here in North America.
Oh, well, you're right. Oh, wait, no, it's not Mappy. What crap? I'm getting the game wrong. Was it Clue Land?
Oh, Clue Land. No one liked that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, Clue Land.
It's neat, for sure. I can never quite get the controls quite straight in my head. I always get mixed up. Even when I get it down and I understand it, I still mess up. But it's fun. I like the idea of it. But it's kind of more of a game.
I do like how it's sort of like Pac-Man, but they added a couple of different mechanics to it.
Yeah, because you're creating a picture, and you have to kind of know where the picture is to finish it. It's kind of it's like a Pac-Man maze, but the dots are hidden.
Right, and the more you uncover, the easier it is to figure out what they're going for.
Yeah, because it's usually pretty symmetrical.
Mm-hmm.
I use the example of the Joker movie. Have you seen that movie with Joaquin Phoenix?
The first one, yeah. I did not see the second one.
I love the second one too, by the way, just for what it is. It does something totally what people would hate. Like, everyone hates it, and I love it because of why people hate it. Anyway,
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but like I said, I did really enjoy the first one.
Well, the second one's not fun at all, but it makes perfect sense as a follow-up. So I like it for that. It's got that integrity. But the first Joker, I wish it wasn't called Joker. This is kind of like what I'm saying with your Pac-Man example. If it wasn't called Joker, I'd be a lot happier, because it doesn't need to have that ties to Batman, Joker, Gotham. It's a great movie all on its own, but I would never have seen it if it wasn't Joker.
And it felt weird how the first Joker kind of, I want to say the character was Alfred. It kind of made him look like a bad guy in this one.
Yeah, it's, but I wouldn't have seen Joker, which means I would have missed a really good movie.
Right.
And I'm wondering that about Pac-Man, like what you said. Like, if it wasn't called Pac-Man, it might have done better, but maybe people wouldn't have flocked to it because everyone flocked to it because it was Pac-Man.
That's kind of how I feel about Dig Dug 2 as well, because honestly, if Dig Dug 2 hadn't been named Dig Dug 2, would it have even gotten a second glance?
No, see, I don't know. See, because that's not a unique gameplay. That might have been enough to draw people in. But yeah,
right, that's questionable on that.
We can never know. I mean, you may be in the future from me, but I'm not so far back in the past to see what people were thinking.
By one whole hour.
By one whole hour. Yeah.
I gotta get someone from Australia on here.
Let's just really travel through time. Do you suppose
time travel? We cracked it.
At what point does the future become the past, though? Because if you keep getting people from the future, eventually it'll loop around back to me, which would be the past still, but the future for someone else, wouldn't it? Like I don't.
Oh, very technically, this new episode is actually occurring in the past for the listener.
It is. And
Inception.
Oh, man. And then everything we experience is in the past too. Because our brain is slow by, nanoseconds or something. Craziness.
Yep. Go out and rob a bank, and then whenever the police try to arrest you, be like, it was in the past.
So how many Mr. Driller games have you played?
A couple.
Are you good at those?
I did the one on the PlayStation when it came out.
I don't have that one. I have it emulated, and I suck at that one. I bought a Mr. Driller for the Switch, and I suck at that one too. I don't know why I can't play Mr. Driller. I like the idea. I have fun with it, but I'm garbage. Garbage at
now,
it.
The other one is not an official Mr. Driller game. It's a clone. But it's one of the games inside of another game called Arcade Paradise.
Oh, is that... Oh, wait. I have Arcade
That's the game where you start in a laundromat and you slowly convert it over to an arcade.
I have Arcade Paradise. I was playing it quite a bit. I'm right near the end of the upgrades I can really do.
One of the games in there is a Mr. Driller clone.
I can't remember if I played. It's been a while. It's probably been a year since I played it almost now. I really like that game in the flow, and I love the games in it. I didn't like Kung Fury though. Did they put Kung Fury in that as well as DLC? Have you seen
maybe. I'm not sure. I beat it on both Steam and on the Meta Quest headset, but the games are a little different between the two.
Yeah, I would love to have played the VR one, but I don't have a PC VR headset, and my PSVR is it's old. It doesn't have Arcade Paradise. It's an old machine.
I went with the Quest 3. I really am considering trading it in for the Steam frame whenever it comes out. But I got Arcade Paradise in there, and it was really good.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was gonna get the MetaQuest 3. I'm just paying off a computer right now, the one I'm using now to talk. And I said when I was done that, I was thinking about getting a MetaQuest 3, but then that Steam thing was announced. I'm like, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to see what the price is, but I'm more inclined to go for Steam than Meta, so.
That's where I'm at, too. I'm waiting on the price for both the Steam machine and the frame.
Just to, watch movies on it, too, because the PSVR, I love watching movies on it, except for the way it's designed with the camera tracking. When I'm watching a movie, it just always drifts, and I have to recenter the screen. So I like watching movies. Our local IMAX theater isn't as big as other people's IMAX. If I'm sitting in the middle of the theater, I can see the whole screen without having to turn my head.
You just maybe want to hook up the arcade boards to an IMAX and play Dig Dug that way.
I think our IMAX, you can rent it to play games on. It'd be funny to actually put... I need to rent it for my Atari 2600. May I?
Oh my God, the Atari 2600 blown up to 800 inches.
I think it would be good. I think it'd be great.
I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be really fun.
I mean...
That would also be a good test to see if the black and white switch does anything for the fuzziness.
Yeah, that's true, because you would see every detail. Because you can hook up anything you want to a VR headset and play with a virtual theater screen,
Mhm.
right? So you could test that. You could put an Atari 2600 on in a roundabout way, or through the Switch. You
Well,
could
see, I
plug that
wonder how
into it.
that would work with an emulator, though, because with an emulator, you're not getting that radio frequency connection that you're getting on an old school TV.
Oh, yeah.
And
So I guess,
that's the theory for me, is that the interference is literally coming from that radio frequency box.
well, I guess you'd have to put Atari through a VCR, and then from a VCR, have a adapter from
To
the
a
audio
capture
video
card and then
to-
out to.
but you would still have that initial RF at the beginning. Maybe you'd still be able to see it. I don't know.
This involves a lot more money and hardware than I own.
You have me at too much. There's too more patience than I own. I
Well,
don't have
that
kind
too.
of patience. Someone else can do it, and they can make a video, and I'll watch it. I have patience for that.
Right. So we're probably going to get ready to wrap this up. We've spent about an hour on mostly Dig Dug. Where can you be found, though?
Well, in Moose Jaw, if you want to come over, you I'm at blah 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 street. Oh, you mean virtually? Well, I haven't put out a lot again lately, but YouTube is probably the best place. It's Electronic Emotions Program. I think the next thing I want to do, if anyone's interested, I think I'm going to go through my games and just boringly just talk about, like, go through my game books through the discs and just go page by page and go, this is the games I have, just to kind of document all the games I have. And then later I can go into more detail about how I feel about more of them. But if someone ever wants to see my collection, I think that's what I'm going to do next, because it's low effort. I like low effort.
Right on. My collection got sold off whenever I moved, but like I said, I've got more or less an emulation drive full of all this stuff. And then I got the minis I kept, the NES Mini, Super Nintendo Mini, Genesis Mini, TurboGrafx Mini, PlayStation Mini.
I want that Super Nintendo Mini. I see one at a local pawn shop for $100, and it's not a bad price, but
Yeah, it's not bad at all, to be honest.
only
Although I will say to anyone listening out there, if you see the TurboGrafx one for a price of 100 or less, snag that thing, because those are like impossible to find now.
I never even saw one in the stores, I don't think, here. Do you know why I want the Super NES Mini, though?
I'm guessing for the games on it.
I think I have all the games that are on it, except the only legitimate way to own a physical copy of Star Fox 2 is that device.
Yep. I did really like Star Fox 2 on there. I should bring that up.
I haven't played it yet because I still feel dirty because it's on the Switch Online, but I don't own it, and it makes me feel dirty that I don't own it. And
Well, I mean, if it's on Switch Online, you're paying for it, so
I'm renting it.
yeah, that's fine.
It's like they're on the Switch. There's that Virtual Boy thing coming out,
Mhm.
right? And you get to buy the physical dock or whatever that you slip your Switch into to play it. But I'm under the impression that you will not own the games, that you will have that online service like all the other consoles. And that bugs me.
I just wish they would have done a virtual console version on the 3DS for the Virtual Boy.
Oh, I
feel like that would have just been perfect.
I was telling two of my coworkers that yesterday, that why is Nintendo dumb? Because yes, that's the perfect spot for it. And then also Pokemon Snap. Like, why is Pokemon Snap on the N64 and the Switch when it should have been on the 3DS and the Wii U, the ones that actually control like cameras?
Yep.
But I have two Virtual Boys, so it doesn't really matter a whole bunch to me. I don't have Virtual Golf. There's 4 Japanese only games, of course, I don't have. I don't have Jack Brothers, 'cause that's like $1 million to buy. Otherwise, I have 9 Virtual Boy games. Some of them that aren't.
Whenever I had my collection, I want to say I had 6 or 7 of them, and my favorites were probably Nestor's Funky Bowling and Tower Boxer.
I do not have Nestor's Funky Bowling, and I'm confused why that is not in this Virtual Boy lineup for the Switch.
Yeah, I've always been wondering that too, because like Nestor is like a huge Nintendo Power character back in the day, so it's kind of surprising.
It's a Nintendo game. I'm guessing someone else maybe developed it and Nintendo doesn't want to pay them.
I'm not sure.
And I'm also confused. I saw that screen of Shin Megami Tensei's on that as well, but I don't know if they translate. But yeah. I'm rambling. Yeah,
I've got no clue on that Shin Megami Tensei one. That's a series that I have never got into. I need to, but I don't have the time for that at all.
I'm just going to focus on the Persona side of that. I don't think I'm going to go into the whole thing because most of them are in Japan still. So,
right,
I need a whole series, and all the Personas are here. So I'll just stick with that sub-series.
But on that, I think we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to play some more stuff from Dig Dug. Maybe I'm going to hunt for a music track, or there could be a commercial coming up after that.
Ooh.
So, till then, we will see you all on the next episode.
Yeah, I'm digging it.
I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending the 3rd International Conference on Science and Technology. This afternoon,
What the heck is that?
Well, I don't know, but that's another one.
Good gracious, there goes another one.
They're multiplying.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special bulletin. Mysterious underground creatures are moving your way.
We have a problem here.
Come on, everybody, take a chance. We're going underground to do the Dig Dug dance. First you tunnel through a wall of dirt, burrow under rocks without being hurt. Quick now, turn around, what do you do?
For that.
Dig dug. Dig dug. Hey, 見て見て。もしもし。あれ。
Here, look at here.
Dig down deep in the ground. When a flower sprouts up, you're playing around, but you gotta have it tight.
Say, where are your women now, huh? Where are your women now?
Dig down, dig down, dig down.
As your score gets
Yes, sir.
higher, they multiply.
All right, let's get cracking.
Oh, you always gonna come on.
Dig Dog っていうゲームなんですよ。Say something.
Hello?
Just like a bazooka. Use it to
They're
blow
called
holes.
Lukas, Firearm, and Dig Dug.
What are they doing? What happened? Eat all the veggies and
All they want is for us to play with them so we can all have a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Dig Dug's the greatest fighter of them all. Dig Dug. Dig Dug.
As always, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to another episode of Afterglow. You might have noticed in this episode there were some parts that were a little jerky and maybe some volume differences. That's because for the original recording, for some reason, the first 10-15 minutes, it completely garbled me. My guests sounded perfect, but my stuff sounded weird and fast-forwarded. I cut most of the real bad stuff out and re-recorded my part. However, some of the original stuff I did keep in just because you could make it out, and it kind of kept the flow of the conversation going a bit better. But I do apologize for that. I'm going to try to figure out what happened. That way that does not happen again. But outside of my recording and editing woes, thank you for listening. If you're looking for more podcast goodness, be sure to check out the link tree in the show notes page. There are tons of links down there, all kinds of other podcasts and YouTube channels to check out and listen to. There is a link to the Discord as well. The Discord has some friends of the show in there. We love coming in and chatting. There's some fans in there too. Also, every Wednesday in the Discord, I do a Name That NES game where I will post a screenshot and have everyone in the Discord guess and see which game that screenshot comes from. Of course, there's links to the Patreon and the merch store in there if you'd like to support the show by getting some merchandise, sticker, magnet, t-shirt, whatever, or if you're wanting to get that shout out at the beginning of every episode. But outside of all that, of course, thank you for listening, and we're going to close this out with some messages with some friends of the show.
Hello and welcome to the Reviews Brothers. It's me, Martin, and you can join me on YouTube where I have hundreds of videos covering a huge range of video game topics. I've got top 10s, hidden gems, console-focused A to Zs, as well as dedicated videos to topics like Doom mods, 3D platform games, ninja games, pirate games, and more. I cover all systems from Commodore 64 right up to modern consoles. Nothing gaming is off the table. So be sure to search for the Reviews Brothers on YouTube, as well as on Instagram and TikTok for hundreds of retro and modern video game reviews.
For more than 15 years, Retro Gaming Roundup has been the centre of your retro gaming universe, with top 10s, interviews, game reviews, news, and much more from all over the globe. Be sure to tune in every month for a new dose of Retro Gaming Roundup. That's RetroGamingRoundup.com.
Hey, this is Toby, one half of the Secret Levels podcast. We're a podcast that goes over old retro games. We go over the history, the story, the gameplay, some fun facts. We even rage a little bit. And then we go and give it a nice 1 to 10 rating to let you know if it's still worth playing. We have over 200 reviews for games on the NES, the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and many other consoles. You can find us on all the major podcasting apps, such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you can follow us on social media at Secret Levels Pod. Game over, folks.
Afterglow listeners, it's me, Keith Gasper, coming at you from the #1 retro gaming podcast, the Main Quest Podcast. Come hang out as a guest and I play and discuss a game from the backlog of my childhood. We're talking about our history and the history of the game, and if it's worth checking out today. We're talking about games from the NES, the Sega Genesis, TurboGrafx, Game Boy, and much more. And that's just on the main feed. If you enjoy what you're hearing on Afterglow, you're going to enjoy the Main Quest, and I'm happy to have you. Find the Main Quest on Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Spotify, and wherever great podcasts are downloaded.
Hello, my name is Aaron. I'm one half of Super Pod Saga, a topical variety video game podcast fueled entirely by nostalgia and unleaded gasoline. Super Pod Saga, we discuss a different video game topic each and every week. We have new episodes every single Monday covering a different video game topic. More than anything, we want to entertain our listeners and make you feel like you're one of the boys, like you're hanging out at a campfire with some of your best zany, caffeine-powered buddies and just talking about your favorite games and all that stuff. Stop on down to Super Pod Saga. It's on every podcatcher there is. If it's not, let me know and we'll get on it. Again, Super Pod Saga, stop on by.